All right, I hope it's not too dark, but if I turn on the light right now with daylight outside, it's going to be really bright in here. So today I am canning drumsticks with the bone on. I got these for $1.50 a pound. Now, for where I live, that's really good, okay? That's cheap. So, when you process meat with the bone in, the processing times are less than what you would do if you're just using chopped parts, okay? So, ordinarily, when you can a pint of meat, that would be 75 minutes, and a quart would be 90 minutes. Well, today I am using 1.5 pint jars. Now, this is the Canadian version of the 1.5 pint jar, okay? So, because of that, I have to use the processing time for the quart, not the pint. Now, because it's bone in, the processing time for a quart is 75 minutes, and for a pint, 65 minutes. So I will be processing this for 75 minutes, okay? I'm gonna do a cold pack, and I'm gonna add a wee bit of broth, okay? So let's get started, all right? So we are going to try and get 4 pieces of chicken in each jar. So to that I am going to add just a little bit of bone broth. Now, when you do raw pack, typically you don't add bone broth or water or anything. But you will see that the 4 pieces of chicken in this jar come to about here. So even if I do add a little bit of broth, when the chicken produces its own broth, it will not exceed the head space. So I am going to start by inserting meat side down, okay? And then I'm going to insert bone side down. See? There. Okay. I am now going to add a bit of bone broth, just a bit. I'm going to take my debubbler and get some of the air pockets out. I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of canning salt. That's optional because it's only for flavor, really. Okay. So I am going to wipe my rim with vinegar. Now, by the way, I have my lids soaking in previously boiled water. They're not in boiling water, but previously boiled water. Let's get a lid. Place it on our jar. And I'm going to place this in the canning pot. I'll bring you back when they're all in the canning pot. Oops. My 8 jars are in the pot now, so I am going to proceed to do my safety checks with my lid. I'll bring you along for that. You want to check your locking mechanism. You want to look through your vent. And I can see the apartment across the street. Check your overpressure plug, your seal, and check your weight. I never checked my weight. And apparently, a part fell off during a canning session, my last canning session. This part right here, sorry, that part right there fell off. And you know, it was a challenge to maintain pressure. I ultimately did maintain pressure, but boy oh boy was I babysitting that element. My goodness. Anyway, so I'm going to turn this on after I put my lid on. So I have my arrows lined up. I have a new seal, and boy, oh boy, is this tight. Anyway, I'm going to turn on my element to high. And I mean, I could have let this warm as I was going along, but I was doing a cold pack, so it wasn't necessary. It's now, everything is going to warm up together. The water in the pot, the jars, the chicken, the broth, everything. So I'll bring you back when this begins to really vent, okay? All right, see you then. So the pot is venting. It is hard to see, but it is venting. There you go. That's a better view of it, I guess. I'm going to put the timer on for 10 minutes. Okay, so we're going to let this vent for 10 minutes, and I'll bring you back. The canner has been venting for 10 minutes. It's now time to put the weight on. There we go. Now, when this gauge goes up to 11 pounds pressure, I will set the timer for 75 minutes, and I'll bring you back then. I'm just past 11 pounds pressure. I'm, trying to find the sweet spot here with my element. Anyway, I put my timer on for 75 minutes. I'll bring you back when the 75 minutes are done. 75 minutes are up. So what I've done is I've turned off my element. I've carefully picked up my pressure canner and moved it to a cool element. Now ordinarily I don't do that because typically I'm pressure canning 20 pints or 18 pints, and it's just far too heavy. But this time there's 8 pint-and-a-half jars, so that was pretty easy for me to do. So pressure is going to come down to 0, and when it does, I'll bring you back as I take the jars out of the pot. The canning pot has come down from pressure, and now it is at 0. And I'm about to open it, so let me bring you along. I'm going to start by taking the weight off. I'm going to open up the canning pot, and I'm going to hold the lid away from me. Okay, so let's take the jars out of the pot. Everything looks good. There you go. See, even with all the bubbling, the amount of broth I put in is just fine. And it's going to give the chicken some flavor as well. So I'm just going to place this on the other side of my kitchen. See? Wonderful. You know, a really nice aroma. I went out on the balcony and I could smell it on the balcony. It was a really nice aroma. Yum. Great. So I'll bring you back when they're all out. Here we are. So, 8 pint-and-a-half jars of chicken drumsticks. Pretty good. Give it a try. It's certainly nice to have this on hand. And look at all that wonderful bone broth in there. Delicious.